If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Yeah, we're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Starting this hour, talking NBA playoffs and specifically the Eastern Conference Finals as we head back to the great city of New York now, as Brian Mahoney has covered the Knicks and the NBA for many, many years with the Associated Press, and he joined us here in the Progressive Guest Line. Brian, thanks for the time as always. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How's it going, guys?
Doing really well. Now, we were just talking about this before you came on, and you can expand on this in a minute, like what you've been through watching this team like every night for decades now, and what the fan base has been through for a long, long time. Based on what happened after they beat the Celtics, if this team makes the finals, are they going to burn the city to the ground?
People were talking about that, Mitch. Yeah, it was such an incredible scene, right? Just making the conference finals. And, people were kind of laughing at the Knicks fans like that. You didn't win anything yet. But when you've gone as long as they have without even being competitive, this is a big deal. And, yeah, if they somehow get through and get to the finals, yeah, I mean, they're going to be blocking traffic for miles around New York City.
That is well said, but you have the scars to prove it. I mean, they were a laughing stock, like the Mecca. Couldn't get big free agents, sell the team, Dolan. How bad the starting five was, and maybe the worst part about it all was the Isaiah Thomas tenure, where it was giving Jerome James ridiculous contract, Eddie Curry, and then the sexual harassment. It just wouldn't end with this guy.
No, and he just kept being here. And my first few years were when Isaiah was president, and then a couple of years when he was coach. They finally got rid of him as the president, but he stayed on as coach. And just terrible teams. And you'd say, okay, it's going to lead somewhere. They're going to get somebody. They're going to luck out in the draft lottery.
Right,
they're going to do, and then a lot they pick the wrong guy. They bring in a bad free agent. Isaiah would throw a bad contract at him. They just kept adding to their own problems, and it took years and years and years to get out of it.
Well said. Absolutely. Then they thought they had it with Melo, and they finally won a playoff series, but they were kind of doomed from the start because he wanted to go to New York anyways. But he wanted out of Denver so bad, he made the Knicks give up assets, young players, and picks to do so to get out early.
No, you're right, Paul. I mean, the Knicks could have waited and tried to get him in free agency. They had the money to just do that. But instead, they sort of panicked. They were worried about competing with the Nets, who were also trying to get him. So they threw this great trade package to them, to Denver. And the Knicks, didn't have a lot of help around Carmelo. And they were able to build that up. And then they finally had a good year or two, and then Phil Jackson comes in as president, and he messed the whole thing up almost as bad as Isaiah did. So it was such a short window in time where they even had a chance to be competitive. It was gone like that.
Right. And then they thought, okay, KD, Kyrie, we can do this, and they go to the Nets to add injury to insult. So take us through what people were saying when their, quote, big move was to bring in Brunson, and what people thought of that when it happened initially.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all thought Brunson was like an okay player. Like, hey, Dallas did pretty well when he was there as mostly a backup. He didn't even really become a full-time starter until late in his time there. And, the Knicks basically, they made moves to free up salary cap space, and they threw it all at Jalen Brunson. And we were saying, look, like, he's okay, but that's our big move here in New York is they're getting this guy who was a second-round pick. And they even got fined for tampering. They talked to him too early, and that made it even more laughable. That, like, this is the guy, of course he was going to come. No, they were bidding against themselves, and they bid too early. So the fact that Brunson has been so much more like everyone in New York has to say we were wrong about this. We thought he could help, not he could be a superstar.
Yes. So if they beat the Pacers, can you say he's a top 5 Knick?
I think you'd have to look pretty closely at it for sure, based on the fact that, he's been here 3 years. They've advanced in the playoffs deeper than they had for years. His individual numbers are, incredible. And it's a short list of guys who've actually won titles in New York. They only won 2 of them in the 70s. So you take away the guys who are on those teams, and there's no one else who can say we won here. So for sure, Brunson would have a case.
Yeah, I will also raise my hand because I'll go back to the trade that brought in Karl Anthony Towns. I said on the air, Brian, I hated the trade actually because the fact that you were going to give up Randall, but also what DiVincenzo was playing like last year, and I thought you were going to gut your depth at that point. Dead wrong about that. Which brings us to the series now. Overall, in the Knicks here at Circa, Brian, where we broadcast from, they're a $1.60 favorite to win the series. When they beat Boston on Friday night, what was your early takeaway on how the series was going to play out?
Well, man, I was so impressed by Indiana in the last round that I had even gotten to the point and said, I think I would have picked the Pacers against Boston, even if Boston was healthy. This is a team who really, since the second half of the year, even longer, maybe since January, has been playing some, top 5 basketball in the NBA. And they looked so good. I understand Cleveland had some injuries and all this, but I'm curious to see how the Knicks, because look, as we said, the Knicks were terrible against Boston in the regular season. They turned that around. So I do expect the Knicks to be able to counter a lot of stuff the Pacers do, but I'm just not sure if you can match up with them for 7 games the way that offense is humming.
How big do you think the pace and tempo will be, and who will control pace and tempo?
Well, the Knicks are like every team. Every team says, we want to rebound and push the ball, but I don't think you want to push the ball against the Pacers. Everybody they bring off the bench is a good player. Like, their depth isn't just depth. It's really good depth. And, if they have to run against Toppin and McConnell, those guys are going to wear them out a little bit. So I think the Knicks want to try and slow it down. And, I think the key really is, the big men shooting outside Siakam and Turner. That's something, you have to, it's hard to adjust to that. You don't look for guys on the perimeter like that. And, the Knicks will have to find a way, much like teams have to do against Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to find those guys.
I think you're spot on with that. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Brian Mahoney, our guest, covers the Knicks and the NBA for the Associated Press, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. More on that with the pace, because the Pacers were a top 7 tempo team in the league in the regular season. They're playing even faster in the playoffs. However, Brian, and this is why I think the Knicks are going to probably win out with the pace, they were 26th overall in tempo in the regular season at about 97 plus per possessions per game. They're playing at about 95 possessions per game so far in the playoffs. So they've even gotten slower. Tough to do here against the Pacers, but I think the Knicks will do whatever they can to win the battle of the pace here.
Well, that's good stuff, Mitch. It's good to know. And, I think having Mitchell Robinson back now certainly helps them. We saw how good he was off the bench against Boston. They feel confident going to the boards offensively because he's going to get a lot of them. And they're going to get open threes on those offensive rebounds. And they feel like they can play at a different pace than they did in the regular season with him back there. So I do think that makes a difference. Again, can you slow this team down enough to beat them 4 times? Based on what I've seen so far in the playoffs, I think it's going to be really hard. I just really am impressed by the way the Pacers have played so far.
Do you think Bridges can be an X factor?
I think he needs to be for them. Certainly one of the reasons that they turned it around against Boston was because of how good Bridges was, certainly in the second half of those games. He didn't always have 48 minutes. That's part of the reason they fell behind a lot of times. But he played really well defensively. He stayed in the game even when his shot wasn't falling. And then late in the series, his shot did fall. So this is a guy who in Brooklyn was a good scorer.
That's
20, 25 points a game guy. So he has it in him, and they're going to need it, again, because they don't have another way to play. They can't go to their bench like the Pacers can. The starters have to be good.
Yeah, like every matchup might be a little bit different here, right? Because it was not a great series overall, I didn't think, for Karl Anthony Towns against the Celtics. However, in the regular season, Brian, he averaged 30-plus points, 12 boards, 2.5 steals, and he shot basically lights out higher than 56%. And based on the matchup now taking on this Indiana team, do you think Cat puts up, maybe not, those are very difficult numbers to achieve, but really good numbers overall here?
Well, I think for sure the number one reason Knicks would have confidence is because of how well he played against them. Like you say, 30 points a game in the regular season, and Boston sort of forced the Knicks to use him differently because Boston guarded him with a smaller guy. And so Towns went down on the post a lot, didn't shoot a lot of threes at all. but the Knicks need him to shoot the threes, and he did against the Pacers. And, if they get that aspect of their offense back, yeah, I mean, he was fantastic, and they're going to need that for sure.
Great to talk to you, my friend. I know you saw a lot of bad basketball over the years, so you deserve this too after 20 years with this organization.
It's nice to be watching basketball live in late May here. That's for sure.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care, guys.
Enjoy the game. He probably had a chance to go to like Rucker Park and watch better basketball for 20 years than going to the Mecca, right?
That was well said. No lottery luck.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a big-time free agent. The Melo trade, they were up against it before he even got there because of what they had to give up. You had the Linsanity run, which lasted a couple months. Then he got exposed in the playoffs against the Heat.
Right.
But just to see how much they love basketball, and they haven't made the finals since 1999, and they haven't won a title since 73, and then they just end the 25-year drought. I mean, think of all these Knicks fans who've never seen this happen. 25 years is a long time.
It is.
And you couldn't even make it to the conference finals, and how many players you had. But I would think he's right as well, that if they're able to win this series, you have to take Brunson over Melo. Melo
No, Paul. You take him right now over Melo.
Yeah,
right now, absolutely.
He won one playoff series.
Yes.
That's it. So while he was a great scorer, I mean, to think that, and a lot of people mocked it at the time, but it was a great signing, and they didn't overpay, and it changed the whole organization, what they're able to do just to get this guy and what he's meant.
Hey, one of the things going, I think, for Indiana that would be considered an intangible for the series, this is the kind of makeup here where this team will not be intimidated to go play at the Garden.
Oh, no way.
They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, right?
Yeah.
Halliburton's a guy who's going to step back and make a 28-footer as time expires, and he's going to run around the court going like this with the onions, look at me, I'm a big guy on campus. They have no problem going scoreboard against this team.
Yeah.
They're cocky, they're young. Carlisle's an awesome coach.
Yep.
So playing there
That's
at
a good one.
that place will not I don't think it's going to get them.
Yep. Good point about Carlisle. He is excellent.
Just to think, go back a month. If Thibodeau doesn't get by the Pistons, he's going to be fired.
There was talk. I know.
Okay.
There was talk about that. And certainly the Pistons won in the Garden twice in that series.
Do you concur? Is up next here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN. Great moments in history have begun with a question.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
And what kind of hair product does Mitch Moss use? But Follow the Money wants to know.
Do you concur? Concur with what, sir? Do you concur?
All right, let's do it. I've known you for 25 years. Even if you or your wife were lucky enough to hit megabucks, I still don't think you would splurge or go engage in outrageous behavior with this menu at Electric Daisy Carnival that comes to town every weekend. A case of Bud Light is $560, and thanks to the viewers who found it on the menu, a 6-pack of Smart Water, $90, and then if you wanted like the Don Julio 1942, a bottle's $3,000. Casamigos Reposado, $1,100.
Well, and then look at this. They have packages here
Here it is.
on the graphic that start at $100,000 and they go all the way up to $575,000. I would concur. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money I'm worth. Now, I've actually been to the EDC before.
Yeah, lighting it on fire.
I loved it. I thought it was a great time. I would go back, but I'm not going to go there and spend $4.6 million on, it's burning money. You have several other things that you could do with your money that would be well worth it. Again, going out there to have a great time, sure, go dance around a little bit, glow sticks, have a couple of waters, whatever. I'm not, Paul, I've never really been into ecstasy. I have no idea how that goes. The kids, whatever else it is.
Sure.
Not for me. But, God, I think we were out there till 5 o'clock in the morning, too. We were like early birds to get out of there because they stayed till 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. But no, my God, I could come up with 1,000 other things I'd rather do with my money.
The Maple Leafs win the series if Stolarz doesn't get hurt. Do you concur?
No, I do not.
Oh!
You want to know why?
They would have won Game 3.
Same old Toronto Maple Leafs.
You can't say that?
I can't say
it. Can't do it.
I mean, he's an upgrade over Wall, in my opinion. But I can't.
He was playing
go
great.
There.
He was playing so well, and it was a different team. It felt like a different team. This is the biggest play of the series.
Did you see Mitch Marner go scorched earth last night during the game on his teammates? And he had done nothing at that point. He was disgusted when they were down 3-0.
I like what Kachuk said. He goes, they're so talented. They can't have success in that market because of the negativity in the press.
Other people have said that.
He said if they were here, because we don't have to deal with any of it. He said if they were here, they'd have a Stanley Cup.
Other people said the same thing. Like, you take the same exact team and put them in a different NHL city, and this would not be a problem.
I just don't know how you play like that at home in Game 5 and Game 7. Was the Drake thing real? Did Drake bet $1 million on the Maple Leafs?
It had to be.
Okay.
It had to be real. That should have been sign number 10 to bet against him last night.
I agree with Darren Ravel. If it ever happens, it will be the most expensive sports ticket ever if Toronto's at home Game 7 Stanley Cup. Do you concur?
Are you in hockey or?
No, sports.
Oh.
You said tickets were outrageous to sit in the nosebleeds.
Well,
that's a tough ticket. They haven't made it to the conference final since 2002. They haven't won the cup since 67. I think he's right because of how hockey crazy they are, plus the drought. If they make it and there's a Game 7 Stanley Cup, I think he's right. So the get-in price to the Knick game was like $650. Okay, what do you think the get-in price is if the Toronto's in the Stanley Cup?
What do you think the get-in price if the Knicks are in the finals? $3,000?
Oh, I don't know if it's that high.
It's going to be you're not getting out of there with under 4 digits. There's no way you can get into a Knicks game in the finals for under $1,000.
Yeah.
No way, no how.
See what Wednesday looks like.
So hold on. First of all, I went to one Maple Leafs game in my life. It was in 2015. They were not very good. And at the time, well, you're really testing my memory here. We sat 5th level. Tickets were hard to get, by the way, because they're such a lunatic fan base.
Yeah.
I think we paid like $75 or $100 for the ticket then in a game in December. So, okay. I mean, it's going to be super expensive, but Dodgers-Yankees last year, World Series. Maple Leafs would be higher than that?
I think he has a case.
Any Super Bowl?
In the drought? No, he's not. I don't think he's counting Super Bowl. Super Bowl's in its class of it. I'm talking about, you take out the Super Bowl. But that's maybe, if you want to throw Super Bowl in there too. I mean, that's
you get.
I'm talking. You can also say about seats on the glass and all that other stuff too, or just get in price, however you want to look at it.
Put it this way: I'd rather spend money on that game though than burning it at EDC.
Yeah, right. I'm very confident TNT is going to blow this and just go over the top and get carried away and make it about Reggie Miller against the Knicks. And Reggie Miller, the ghost of Reggie Miller, because he's on the broadcast, and TNT is carrying the whole Eastern Conference Finals. Do you concur? 26 years ago it happened.
I hope you're wrong, so I don't know if I'm concurring or not, but I will say this. They have to bring it up because it is part of the history here. It's part of the overall storyline going into it. Maybe not for these two teams, obviously, but just like NBA history. These two teams playing each other in the playoffs. But they don't have to do it. If it goes 7 games, are they going to be talking about it like in Game 4? Is it going to be a thing in Game 6? Is Miller going to make a reference to it every single game, every single chance that he has? Are they going to show highlights every game? I think you do it in Game 1, and then that's what you call it good.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm not very confident in that actually being part of the overall package.
We need to slow down with the hype on the Indiana Fever. Do you concur?
I do. Another one. Boy, we're on a different page today.
That was a hell of a performance to start, though.
Did you see what DraftKings took from Dave Portnoy?
No.
$25,000 on Clark to have a triple-double at 13-1.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And she got it.
She got it. Late. Got it.
Yeah, I think Doug's on to something because Arian about her double-double's over.
Well, certainly
that team is.
That was an incredible performance.
Chicago's bad, though.
Chicago, right, there's a chance where they're not going to be very good.
Yeah.
But define what that means, though.
People think they're going to win the title.
I can get there.
Yeah?
I can get there. Now,
Getting Bonner was big, too.
a couple things. I mean, what the Liberty did to the Aces. Now, it might take the Aces quite some time here to, with this new trade.
It's a good win, but impressive.
Kelsey Plum was awesome in her first game for the Sparks.
Yeah, yep.
But the Liberty are going to be very good. But I'm telling you, the team that should have won it last year, Minnesota, Collier's the best player in the WNBA. I said it. I'm not going to take it back. She's awesome. And they might win the whole thing. But I think the top 3 or 4 teams in this league are very, very good.
The last 3 movies have been incredible. They got better, I think, each one. Action-packed. There's no way Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, final reckoning, can live up to the hype. Opens Thursday. I think it's the most expensive movie ever. Cost $500 million.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hours and 50 minutes. Can't live up to the hype. Do you concur?
Sadly, I concur. I'm afraid. By watching the same trailer over and over and over again, I'm like, this is not gonna hit me like the other ones have, is it? It's gonna be disappointing.
The last 2, that's aggressive. The last 2, I was still blown away by. It's 90 minutes in, and it's been nonstop. They can't go to the bathroom. There's just no downtime.
Well,
about
Paul,
how it's just the car chases, whatever the stuff. Jumping out of airplanes, jumping on airplanes, whatever.
I will die on this hill. Mission Impossible 6 is the best action movie ever made, and I don't know if there's a close second.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Was it Abu Dhabi at Ghost Protocol?
That was part 4,
on
yeah.
the building, yeah.
I am afraid, put it this way. I'm planning on going this weekend. I am afraid that it's not going to live up to the hype. So I do concur.
All right. There you go. Good job. It's a hell of a win by the Fever, though. But you see what the prices are at, though. Number 1, for them to win the title, and then for her to win MVP.
Well, so that's another story,
Wilson,
right? Yeah.
She led the league in points, rebounds, and blocks last year.
Yeah, Asia's got a strong case, obviously. My comment about Collier, but I love Collier's game. Love her game. I think what I would also concur on here is that you can't bet the Fever at this point because of the numbers.
Yeah.
Right, because the hype is there. People want to bet everything to do with Caitlin Clark. And now they've been pounding it for weeks anyway, since the numbers came out a long time ago, actually. And they had a terrific offseason. So there's really, not enough value. Value's even the wrong word. To me, if you want to make a bet on them to win the whole thing and tie up your money for that long, even a guy like me who loves betting futures, I can't do it. There's no way. Not going to happen.
Yep.
They're going to be a fun watch, though. And, yeah, Kazarian came on and said, what was it, 15 double-doubles or more at minus 145?
He said it should have been $5.
Yeah.
Yep, and then she gets a triple-double to start. So, and then you got, it's always something, right? You got the hard foul against Reese.
Yep.
And then what that turns into and what that becomes. Smarter bets start here. Last all year long with VSiN Pro. Sign up on the annual subscription. Get 14 months for just $1.99 when you use promo code PRO. 2 extra months, less than 50 cents a day. The morning email from Bill 80. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. 24/7 video access as well. And the betting numbers from Mackinnon. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. Promo code PRO. You get the bullpen numbers from Mackinnon, too.
Yeah.
vsin.com/subscribe.
We talked about hedging futures a little bit earlier in the show. I'm holding 40-1 on the Wolves. Pauly has a huge number on Minnesota and also 19-1 on the Pacers. I'm not going to do anything with my ticket, but VSiN Zach Cohen joins the program coming up next. He tipped off the Pacers at 44-1 on vsin.com months ago. Is he riding it out, or does he like the Knicks? What's the overall plan? We'll ask him next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We're down to the final 4 teams in the NBA. We get the West tomorrow night. We get the East on Wednesday night. That is definitely a series our next guest is very interested in. Well, he's a big NBA guy anyway, so he loves all the games. But VSiN's very own Zach Cohen joins the program now, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Zach, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Let's begin with this, because you put this out on vsin.com months ago when the Pacers were 44-1, around that number, just to win the conference. And you had some great analysis on it and why you thought it was worth a bet. Can you share at the time with us now why you thought it was worth betting back then?
Yeah, so it was on January 18th. I put it out 44-1. I just kind of thought that we saw a really good Pacers team in last year's playoffs. They didn't lose any of the players from that core. If anything, I thought that the experience was only going to be better for them. And I know that they started the year a little bit poorly. They were not playing with Aaron Nesmith at the time. He had a bad ankle at the beginning of the year, and it took him a little while to come back. But they started to play some really good defense in December. And if you go back to December 8th, to the end of the regular season, this team was 8th in the NBA in points allowed per 100 possessions. I think that a lot of us look at Indiana like an offensive-minded team because they can play fast. Halliburton's obviously an electric pick-and-roll ball handler, but they were playing really well defensively, and that's kind of when I bought into them as an Eastern Conference contender. I don't think that I knew, that they would be right there at the end of it. I thought maybe they were in that tier below Boston at the time, but I didn't think much separated them from the Cavs or the Knicks.
Oh, okay. That's where I was going, too, because that was you had the belief in Indiana, but you also had to fade two teams that won 60-plus games then.
Yeah, I definitely thought that Boston was going to be here at this point. I was a little surprised by what happened in that Knicks-Celtics series, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this play now. I did hedge a little bit with the Knicks. I think this is going to be a long series, but yeah, I'm still going to be in a situation where I'll win more if Indiana wins.
Okay, so then what are you going to do with this ticket? Pauly has him at 19-1. He likes the Pacers overall in the series. You've had, a good day and a half, 2 days to think about this thing right now. Which way do you lean here, Zach?
So I personally hedged with the Knicks at minus 145 just a little bit. I set up a situation where I'm still winning more if the Pacers win because, honestly, I think it's a coin flip. And I think if you're betting this series, without having any futures on it, I'd rather have the plus money odds on Indiana. I think it's a genuine 50-50. I also really like the over 5.5 games at minus 170 because I just don't see this series ending in less than 6. These are really evenly matched teams, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think that the strengths and weaknesses are different for both teams, but in the end, I just think it's going to be very close. The reason that I'm a little bit nervous, holding those Pacers tickets is I do think Brunson late game is going to be the most reliable closer, and that's just something that we've seen now throughout the postseason. 2 rounds of it, he's just been so good in the final 5 minutes of these games. And I know that Halliburton's been very clutch as well. Indiana has insane crunch time numbers. I just trust Brunson a little bit more towards the end of the games. And I do think that the wings on the Knicks have just kind of woken up after an entire season of underperforming. Anunoby and Bridges have been great. And I do think Anunoby is going to do a really good job on Siakam in that matchup.
How concerned are you with Cat? Cat gave him a ton of issues in the regular season matchups.
Yeah, I just think that Cat settles for jumpers a little bit too often. I think that, he played really well in Game 6. He had a lot of juice against the Celtics, and he was attacking the rim, and he was playing kind of ferociously on the glass. But I do think that with Cat, over the course of a 7-game series, you're going to get 3 or 4 games where it's just going to be a head-scratching performance where he stands on the outside, he's rebounding very well. Yeah, I just don't trust him over the life of the series.
Have you looked at any Game 1 props at all, or any maybe Eastern Conference Finals MVP numbers yet? I threw out a couple of guys on the Knicks as they are the favorite here. Look, it's going to be tough if they win this series, probably for Brunson not to win it. But the numbers on Bridges and OG and Josh Hart are in the 40 to 65 to 1 range. I thought those were kind of attractive.
Those are interesting. I haven't looked much at that stuff yet. I need to actually dive into all of that because I feel like I'm missing out by not checking out series props. And in terms of that, I will be doing daily player props as we get into the series, but have not taken any pre-series ones.
Okay. Any thoughts overall on the Game 1 number or the total? How do you think the pace plays out in this first game with Indiana playing at warp speed, and the Knicks have actually been slower now in the postseason than they were in the regular season?
Yeah, I think I'd be looking under in Game 1. I think in the 2 home games that the Knicks play, they're really going to try to slow down Indiana. I think that the Pacers really want to open this up and allow their guys to make shots in space and just kind of, free flow and get to the basket a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to do that if the Knicks could just walk the ball up the floor, take 20 seconds off the shot clock and then rely on Brunson to make some shots late in the shot clock. I think that's the best way for the Knicks to just kind of suck the life out of the Pacers. So I think at home, we're going to see some lower scoring games for New York.
All right. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, VSiN's very own Zach Cohen. He does daily write-ups for for several sports at the website VSiN.com, and he is on the Pacers at 44-1 overall to win the East. Do you have a number that is worth writing home about on Minnesota in the West? As OKC, they've been the favorites to win that thing pretty much the entire year.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of futures on the Timberwolves too. I didn't put it out at 44-1, but I have 14-1 to win the West, 20-1 to win the West, and 75-1 to win the Finals. So This is another one that I'm really this is another one that I'm very invested in. I will say, like, I love the Timberwolves plus 2.5 games at minus 160.
Yeah,
I just think that what we saw from Oklahoma City in that last series was extremely concerning. I was listening to Simmons and Russillo, and they said that the Thunder went through playoff puberty in Game 7, and maybe that's true. I just don't trust him. I don't trust Jalen Williams as a number 2.
Yes.
I think that the three-point shooting that we saw throughout the playoffs was really just shaky. And I know that, the regular season numbers were good, but honestly, the only guy on the Thunder that I really trust to knock down open shots is Aaron Wiggins, who comes off the bench. So I think that the Timberwolves, who defend the three-point line really well, can disrupt the Thunder by just kind of forcing them into bad three-point looks. And I do think Minnesota is going to have some success offensively in this series. I think Ant, that he's going to make or break the series. Like, his turning over of the ball is concerning. This is a team that is 13th in the playoffs in turnover rate, and Oklahoma City is first in forcing those turnovers. So if Ant is, coughing the ball up left and right and just not taking care of it, that's where the Timberwolves are going to run into trouble. But if he's not, I think the Timberwolves are going to get really good looks from deep. This is a team that is deep with guys that can knock down threes. And I do think that Randall, I like this trade at the time, honestly. I think that Randall has a safety valve for Edwards, where you can't blitz Edwards anymore because you're putting the ball into the hands of another guy that could create in isolation. I love that recipe for them, especially with the supporting cast they have around them. So I think the Timberwolves are going to keep this pretty close. I think that maybe the Timberwolves take a lick early on in the series and kind of have to make the decision to not play Conley as much, just because I think that they're at their best with DiVincenzo out there. But I do think this is going to be a series that goes 6 or 7.
Yeah, and what do you make of that Game 1 number then as well? Oklahoma City, after that pounding yesterday in Game 7 against the Nuggets, now 7.5-point favorites in Game 1, and it's a quick turnaround for them as well.
Yeah, I love the points with the Timberwolves. I think even if I'm wrong about the series, I think Minnesota is going to cover or win Game 1. Like you said, it's a really quick turnaround from Sunday. I think that Finch is a really good coach for Minnesota, really underrated. Has now had just a few extra days to probably prepare for both of these teams, whereas the Thunder, it's one day to get a look at the Timberwolves and see what works. Minnesota also, they've won 2 games against Oklahoma City in the regular season. Both of those games they won without Randall. So that, I don't think the Thunder are going to have a good look at what, they're going to be doing with Randall on the floor. I just think, Minnesota is going to be a little bit more prepared in Game 1. And like I said, I think there's a chance they steal that Game 1.
Yeah, you can follow Zach on X, by the way. Betting on X is the handle. Great handle there. And again, the write-ups are superb every single day at vsin.com. Zach, thank you, and good luck with all those tickets that you have.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. And
a lot of good points.
Yeah, his breakdown, and I knew that I wanted to set him up with that with the T-Wolves futures. His write-up on the Wolves Thunder series at vsin.com is exceptional. Again, on the website, I tweeted it out earlier today at Mitch Moss Radio, and the nuggets that he threw out there, some of the numbers are just, they're great.
Plus 2.5, minus 160.
What do you think of that?
Yeah. In the previous 70 years, the same 7 franchises won 77% of the championships. For the first time in history, there'll be 7 different champions in 7 years.
It's amazing. It's a totally different sport than what it used to be.
How crazy would Knicks... It's got to be Knicks-Wolves in the finals now. How good would that be? With the trade? Oh, that'd be nuts. DiVincenzo coming back to Villanova? Yeah, right.
Did you see
Randall goes back, Cat goes back?
You see what Trae Young put on, I think it was Twitter yesterday? I think but there's a rivalry here with the Knicks fans.
Yes, right.
He basically said, okay, Oklahoma City fans are louder. So I think if we got Oklahoma City and the Knicks, that to me, that series would be either series. The Knicks involved, I got to be, it doesn't matter who's in.
Yeah.
Because I think with the way the Pacers play, it's awesome. But the Knicks, I get it, number 1 market.
Yeah. I've been saying he made a lot of good points. I just haven't been impressed with OKC. Not in the playoffs. Regular season, but I haven't seen, especially with how they played with their food in the Memphis series.
Our best bets are next. In Pocket Plays coming up here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're on.
All right, recapping the weekend. Dallas Stars minus a game and a half against the Jets. Winner. Denver plus the 8 on Friday, winner. And Panthers to win in regulation. We blow over 4 units on that one. That was stunning what happened Friday. Couldn't believe it. It was just backwards. They had dominated the series since the middle of Game 3 on. Thought they'd close out Toronto for sure at home Friday night. They get shut out. And then they go to Toronto, of course, 6-1. So they beat them, 6-1 and 5-1. In Game 5 and Game 7, shut them out in Game 4, and then lose Game 6.
Well, rest assured, the Leafs are not going to look like the same team next year. That's maybe the most obvious thing going into the NHL offseason, according to people like up in that area. Like you can't bring this team back. I can't get over Austin Matthews. Yeah, stellar hockey player.
Never scored in a Game 7?
No.
Right? Nothing. He had the goal Game 6, but Marner, nothing.
Yep.
You know, I fooled around with some of those shots on goal. Probably they don't even no action.
No,
right?
No.
I mean, I think it was Nylander who had the shot right away, the chance in the first period. But okay, the plenty of pending and plenty of new. That's the grade. Pacers to win the East, as we've talked about all show. Everyone, all your futures. Got the Carolina Dallas exacta alive and well.
Good Lord, that's 11 a good one.
Got 14 to 1 as well. Lions under 10.5 wins. Schedule's brutal. Those road games, 7 of the 9. Road games against playoff teams from last year. Man City tomorrow against Bournemouth. It was 180. That's now 210. That's a side 210. Sheffield United, Sunderland. That's Saturday under 2.5 minus 140. That is for promotion. The winner Saturday at Wembley goes to the Premier League. So I think it's going to be KG and Nervy under 2.5. Little chalk here, but again, you got to find this. There's a $3 out there at Will Hill on this. Cat to have the most rebounds of anyone left here in the series, both combined. Most rebounds. That's not just, he's $9 in the Eastern Conference. That's including both conference finals. Likewise with Halliburton. Minus $2 most assists. Freddie Freeman over total bases tonight, 1.5, minus 110. He is hitting .478 last 6 games, and he does well career against Fott. And I'm going with the double with a small hedge. Thunder to win Game 1 in the series, minus 170. Good luck, everyone.
All right. Twins money line against the Brewers got there. This was the wildest thing I've seen betting on a bet that I have in pocket for any game. Mackenzie Gore on Friday.
What happened? What is this now?
So he lasted 3 2/3 innings on Friday. He threw more than 100 pitches. He gave up 10 hits, but he had 9 strikeouts.
How many runs?
Not many. Just every inning, the bases were like loaded against him. And I was tracking it online. I'm like, what is happening tonight? So, but he went over 6.5. He went over 7.5, and he went over 8.5. So those were all good. And I can't believe I won that ladder. I mean, that's just like, that can't happen. But it did, so I'm not going to complain. Those are the graded from Friday anyway. Pending Tigers, 1 win back for most wins in May. Have them at 16 to 1. I would like to get a Twins loss tonight. That would help. But a Tigers win over the Cardinals, both those teams have 12 wins. That would be huge here. And I do have Skubal going, as of right now, 3 more times this month. So that's pretty strong. Juan Soto MVP 20-1 as well. And this is a guy who I also have to win the MVP at big numbers. Pete Crow Armstrong. I bet him he's been red hot. Bet him over total bases 1.5 tonight, plus 105. Not looking good early for the Cubs as Cabrera looks absolutely nasty. And PCA had a 1-2 count in his first at-bat, led off the game. He swung at a pitch that hit him in the leg. So they call it a strike. You're out. So anyway, plenty of action left to go tonight, but he's on pace for, more than 40 home runs, almost 50 stolen bases.
41, 48 stolen bases, 41 bombs, like 131 runs, and I think 120-some runs scored.
Yeah.
Or RBIs, 130 runs scored.
And he leads the National League in WAR. He's only behind Aaron Judge right now in WAR in all of Major League Baseball. Pretty good start.
Yep. Greg Wyshynski, ESPN.com, on the show tomorrow. Here's another one. He picked Dallas to win the Cup even before the issues they had coming in the playoffs. So all this talk about Minnesota and Indiana from the NHL side, Dallas entered the playoffs on a 7-game losing streak, and 2 of their better players were out. And everyone, much like the Denver Clippers series, there was a 60-cent move in the Colorado-Dallas series, and then they lost Game 1 at home 6-1.
Yeah, I was going to say, on top of that,
yes,
like they were kind of like pretty big dogs in that series against Colorado.
Yep. So I give him credit. He's on tomorrow, and he said, I'm taking Dallas. And they came back and won that series and then took out Winnipeg. Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Don't wait on that wire. Don't pay those outrageous fees when you go over your limit. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet, promo code FTM. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match it. edgeboost.bet.
Wow, the Chicago Cubs are really going to put their Sterling first 5 record on the line tonight. It's going to be a challenge because they trail 1-0, and Ben Brown on the mound tonight allowed a leadoff home run to Sanchez for the Marlins. So, and they've had the best record all year long in the first 5, and they're still on an incredible tear here, in the last 15 or 20 games as well, as we documented throughout the show. And they were pretty big favorites tonight to get it done and to win that game as well. So up against it. And the other one is here. You talked about Benson for the Reds, who has a home run in
4 in a row.
Yeah, and he had 2 yesterday. So they're in the top of the first. Is this going to be good enough for the Reds? They lead 1-0, and the Pirates can't score.
That should hold up. Yep.
By the way, back-to-back home runs to begin for the Marlins. Cubbies, rough start. Miami flu?
It's undefeated.
What you got?
So, they would tie the going back to 71 Phillies then. Pirates, 24 in a row. They can't get at least more than 4 runs. This is they're just going to waste schemes. You're counting the days down.
Of course.
Till the kid does the right thing and demands a trade. Oh, they waste. God, they're bad. To lose 1-0, and he's that good last time out.
Let me ask you this. Live betting question here. So with Brown allowing those back-to-back home runs to lead off the game, Cubs trail 2-0. Right. Cubs also have a lethal offense, one of the best in baseball.
Cabrera's been filthy.
They're plus 164 to come back and win it right now.
Yeah.
Plus 1.5 runs is minus 122. The total bumped up to 9.5. The under is even money. So you got to pay, 30 cents or so.
Where are you?
To go over 9.5.
I see 10.5.
Oh, there you go. Shop around then.
All right.
10.5 is going to be a nice plus price to the under, I'm guessing.
10.5 under minus 130.
10.5 under is favored. I got 9.5 over favored here.
10.5 under.
Mm-hmm. But do you want to come back here on the Cubs?
No. Not if you're hyping up Cabrera. He looks so good.
Well, he threw 8 pitches.
Yeah. Kerry Wood. You're talking Kerry Wood.
I told you during the break that he's Kerry Wood here.
Kerry Wood. Just take the Phillies first 5. Lay the half. Sanchez against Freeland. Come on.
I might have to do that too.
They're minus 270 to win the series. It's a 4-game set, but they're minus 270. They're throwing Sanchez and Luzardo, and then the Rockies are going Freeland, Senzatella, and Marquez. Every guy's got an ERA of 6 and change.
Well, when it looks too easy sometimes. You know, it is too. You know,
right? Arizona couldn't sweep them, but
that's the thing, right? We talked about that on Friday.
They're up 6. What happened to Zach Gallen?
That's a great question.
He was unstoppable at home. You couldn't touch him.
Right.
The guy, they gave him 12 runs. He couldn't win the game.
So they were plus 110 to sweep.
Yep.
We talked about how that was a better number than the rollover parlay. But upsets happen, and they couldn't take it down. And the other one was there wasn't even a number. I reached out to a couple of different books.
Sure.
There wasn't even a number on the Angels to sweep the Dodgers, but a rollover parlay would have been higher than 30-1.
That was stunning.
I think the National League is going to be, I mean, if this is going to be a problem all year long for the Dodgers pitching staff, again, their win total late last week was 104.5 still.
Yeah.
As more guys are hitting the IL, that's going to be really, really tough to get to.
You got to get Glasnow, Snell, get these guys, Yamamoto, Sasaki, what he's dealing with.
Yeah.
Not good with Kershaw, too.
I really wanted to see that. No, that's
enough already.
You're going to have to call it quits.
I know.
I get the loyalty here from both sides, but come on.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see that team stay healthy just because, like, what if? And it's been the exact opposite.
Yep, exactly right. Prime time coming up next. Humans, Tim Murray, cashing out Joe Serralo, 11 p.m. By the book, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Derek Stevens on tomorrow. Greg Wyshynski. Talk playoffs, and Jeff Seeley. Charles Schwab plays with the golf as well. And a ton of props.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.